Well, hey y'all, I am in the kitchen today because it's going to be a hot one. We have the generator going, as you can probably hear. It's going to be about 90 degrees. So what do you do when it's hot? You bake. Oh wait, no, probably not most of you guys, but I had some sourdough starter in the refrigerator that I really desperately needed to feed. And the last couple weeks, I've been watching a couple of my some friends on YouTube, and Bryce and Carrie. Carrie used to own a bakery and cafe, and in their last video, they are Free and Easy RV, if you haven't checked them out. But in their last video, Carrie made some cinnamon rolls, and man, they looked really good. And then we have another friend who made some blueberry lemon bread, and then the time before she made some cinnamon rolls in the RV, and so it really inspired me and got me kind of my mouth watering for some cinnamon rolls. So those two channels, like I said, Free and Easy RV with Bryce and Carrie, and then a new channel called Cooking with Renee, and Cooking by Renee. They're really good cooks, and so I figured I'd give my hand at cinnamon rolls. However, Scott doesn't care for cinnamon, so I thought I would try something a little different. And so what I did is I got a base recipe online for sourdough discard cinnamon rolls, and then I worked with Copilot, or maybe it was Google, anyway, one of the AI, and said, Scott doesn't like it, what are some other flavor combinations? And it came up with some pretty interesting ideas. And then those ideas sparked my idea. So we're going to make bourbon brown sugar sweet rolls. So how does that sound? So what I've done is I had a cup of milk that I warmed up to about 100 degrees, just in the microwave. And then the recipe I saw asked for a quarter cup of sugar. I've also seen just a pinch of sugar, but I put a quarter cup of sugar in here. And then I did use a packet of the yeast, the active dry yeast, because I'm just going to use sourdough discard, so it's not fed. Sorry, my hair was doing something. Anyway, and so I let that sit for about 10 minutes so it got nice and bubbly. Now I'm just knocking it down. And then I'm going to add about a cup of I'm going to add a cup of sourdough discard. So I have my sourdough starter. I fed this yesterday, and this little lid has a couple holes in it just to let the air get at it, because it is a living organism. You don't want to choke it and not let it have any air. And this actually lives in my refrigerator, so I don't have to feed it all that often. If it was on the counter, I'd have to feed it every day. I go weeks, sometimes months, not feeding this, but it stays at the back of my refrigerator, and then when I want to use it, I just wake it up and let it sit out on the counter and feed it a couple times, and it's good to go. So I actually, when you have sourdough, you feed it, you have to take some out, and usually you discard it. But I don't like to waste things, so I saved my discard in a separate little container. And yesterday I gave it a little bit of feeding just to make it happy. So I'm going to use about a cup of this sourdough discard, and then if there's some left over, I'll probably just make crackers or just add to it later. No big deal. So we'll add about a cup of the sourdough discard to my milk and yeast mixture. And one thing sourdough likes is it likes to get aerated. It likes to be stirred up and whisked around, and it just likes to be happy. So I got that mixed, and it has all that sugar in there and the milk. It's going to be really happy. Glass bowl is what I use. And I'm just going to go ahead and put her on in there. And then nobody wants hair in their cinnamon roll, so I'm going to put my hair up. Good old 80s style scrunchie. Look at that. Okay. Now I believe I'll use about 3 to 3.5 cups of flour. And I just buy these little containers of flour because I don't have a lot of room. And I'm not going to be completely accurate. I'm just going to guesstimate. So I got my 1 cup measure. I'm going to put in about 2 cups for now, mix it up, see where I'm at. And I don't have a KitchenAid in here, so I'm going to have to do this the old-fashioned way, by hand. And by the way, my hands are clean. I just washed them. Let's see if I can do this in front of the camera so maybe you can see. Haha. Alright, I'm just going to mix it around, get all those wet ingredients mixed with the dry ingredients. One thing I did forget is you always, when you're doing any kind of yeast dough, you definitely want some salt. So I just do about a half a teaspoon of salt. This is actually pink salt, and I don't measure anything. I just put it right there and look. And most people like to mix it in with their dry ingredients, which is a good idea, but I didn't. So it's okay. Just mix that around really good. Okay, that's a really sticky dough, so I'm going to add some more flour. And I'll probably add a whole nother cup, but I'm going to do a little bit at a time. So I'll measure out the cup. We'll just use the rest of that. We'll do about half of that and see how it goes. And then eventually I'm going to switch from this spatula to my hands. So I wanted to thank Bryce and Carrie because they showed how they were kneading their dough in the bowl, and I was like, that's genius. I can just not get anything else dirty. I'll just knead it in the bowl. Not have to put it on the countertops or anything like that. And a lot of sourdough baking is, and actually bread baking in general, is by feel. So the more you do it, the more you get used to what it should feel like. And that feels too sticky. So I also have a cutting board with little feet on it, just little pads on it, just to protect my stove cover. It's not the ideal topping or the ideal countertop to do this on, but when you live in an RV, you kind of just make do with what you have. And how I knead this is I just turn it around and press down. Fold over, turn it, press down. Fold, turn, press. Fold, press, turn. Yeah, that's it. Sometimes I can turn it around, try to get some of that loose flour. See, because there's some still loose flour in there. And it takes, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes to really come together. And you can even use the palm of your hand, which is the right way how I learned how to knead dough. That's getting a little sticky. You can always add more flour, but if you add too much, then it really can mess things up. Now you can see I still have some in here. I'm not getting overzealous, just a little sprinkle. 1/8 to 1/4 cup at a time. And voila. Is it really baking if you don't make a mess and get flour everywhere? That's not what you don't want it to look like. You need to make sure that it's all incorporated into a nice ball and not too floury, because nobody wants to eat raw flour. I got all the flour crusties, and just want to start with a clean slate. Also put some things in soak. Clean as you go, friends. Clean as you go. There we go. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to turn it out onto this board. I'm going to flour that board a little bit. Never fear, I have more flour. It's good to go through your flour anyway, because did you know it expires? So there's a date on here, usually, somewhere. Anyway, you can find a date. There's a date. Used by October 5th, 2026. So we're definitely in date. And this one's newer. So, always good to rotate your flour. Hear that, Mom? All right, I'm going to wash this bowl now. So I've always learned when you're making bread, you grease your bowl before you let it do its initial rise. Okay. Guess I haven't used this shortening before. You can also use butter. My butter's frozen right now, so I'm going to use this Clover Valley, which is probably from Dollar General. Shortening, vegetable shortening. A lot of people don't like vegetable shortening, so if you don't like it, you can use something else. Well, don't try to take that off. Look at that. Oh well. Okay. So I just get a little generous grease on there. And I'll just grease it. And I grease it all the way up the sides, so then it's easy. Okay. Just a little bit more, just because there's some flour on there. I don't want flour just sitting on the dough. And right now it feels kind of grainy. That's the best way to describe it. So what I'm doing is just basically kneading it to where it kind of feels, I think I've heard it described like a smooth as a baby's butt, which I don't have any kids, so, but I have babysat a time or two. I don't know that I want my bread equated to that, but really, it's not sticky. It's nice and smooth, not grainy feeling, and nice round bolus. So then I put it nice, pretty side down, and I turn it, get some of that grease, and then I flip it right side up. Just like that. Then I'm going to take the towel that I dried it with, so it's a little damp. I'm just going to cover it and place it in a warm spot. And my warm spot's going to be up and over in that mess of a cab. But that's where it's going to be. I might put a little plastic wrap on it too, just to keep the dust out. So, we'll be back. Okay, y'all. It has been, a good 4 hours. And look at that. It's big. So now what we do is I just wash my hands, So you just kind of punch it down, deflate it, do a little knead in the bowl. Don't mind the dog watching. Alright. Then I'm going to put I clean my surface. Like I said, I don't have any super ideal place. But I clean this surface pretty good. Hopefully really good. We'll just flour it a little bit. Alright. We'll just get a little flour on here. Hopefully I put both little legs down to hold it steady. I don't have a rolling pin in my RV, and I usually use a wine bottle. And a lot of times I'll take an old wine bottle and I'll peel off the label and keep that. Well, I don't have any wine bottles, so we're going to improvise. So the whole goal is to get it kind of flat and rectangular. And so I'm going to use a coffee cup. Definitely would work better with a bigger working space, but we make do, right? Try to be a little bit 13 by 9 or maybe a little bit bigger. So this is a little different. Most people just put on like softened butter, but because I'm making this a maple bourbon sweet roll, I actually took my maple syrup, pure maple syrup, not like Mrs. Butterworth or anything, real maple syrup, and then I went ahead and used Crown Royal because it's a nice smooth Canadian blend whiskey. It's not really bourbon, but anyway, I'm still going to call it because it's fun. And then I just melted a little butter, and so we're going to brush this on as good as I can without spilling it. Of course, this isn't a very level area, so I'm hoping, I think what I might do, I think I'm going to do something a little different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to brush it on. I'm making this up as I go, by the way. I'm good at that. I'm going to brush just a couple tablespoons on so the sugar will stick, and then I'm going to pour the rest of this over the sugar. There. And then I might just pour it over the top when I put it in the pan. So, at least it gives the sugar something to stick to. Alright. I just have regular dark brown sugar. I didn't measure. Like a quarter cup pack, but I didn't pack it. I'm just gonna put the brown sugar on. Now remember, you can use cinnamon and brown sugar, but like I said, Scott doesn't like cinnamon. So, I'm making it up as I go. You think that's enough? Oh. We'll do a little more. Nobody ever said this was a diet thing. That looks better. All right. I think what I'll do is I'll just drizzle some more of this on. Stir it up. Drizzle. Don't want the edges feeling anything. Now, I'm trying to do this backwards here. We're gonna roll her up. Woo! We're dripping. We're dripping. We'll make a little dam. There we go. Well, maybe I should go uphill. Let's go uphill. Change plans. And if this doesn't work, y'all know don't do it like I do it. My dogs are happy because it's falling on the floor. This is why they say use softened butter, not melted butter. That's okay. So I'm going to make a little dam there. Let's keep it in. Alright, lesson learned. Use softened butter and not melted butter. Which I kind of knew, but I was being impatient. Okay, don't do as I did, because I'm going to make a mess here. I'm going to do a half, then half, then half, and then half. And it's ooey gooey. It's already coming away. So I greased some disposable pans. Woohoo! Look at that. It's coming out. So I'm going to get them in here, nice and round, with some space in between them. And they may not be pretty, but I ain't entering them to any contest, so it's alright. There's one pan. And again, on there, half, half, ooh, get in there, and half. I'm doing this kind of fast because I don't want it to be totally soupy. I can guarantee these are going to be ooey gooey. I don't know if they're going to be good, but I can't imagine they're bad. Alright, we got 4. Now, watch this. A little bit more. This little guy looks lonely over here. That. How about this? Okay, so they don't look nearly as pretty as my friends that I'm copying. But, and that one totally came apart. We'll see. It's real life, people. Remember, I had more of this. Put 2 tablespoons in each pan. I'll do 3 tablespoons in each pan. Wow! All right, good. Now, we're going to set those aside and cover them. And I have these little, they came with some lids. So I'm going to cover these pans and we'll let them get happy. And we'll see you when we put them in the oven. Okay, friends, it has been about 2 hours. We ate dinner and now it is time to show you how they've risen. Look at that. Look at that. Oh yeah. So I have the convection oven all preheated. So we're going to pop these in. And it says to cook them about 45 minutes. So I'll probably check them partway through just to make sure I'm not burning anything. And then we'll see how they turn out. Okay, they're out of the oven. And in here I have about a half a block of cream cheese, a quarter cube of softened butter, and some maple syrup. And I mixed it all up, and so that's going to be our icing. I'm just going to put a blob on each while it's fresh out of the oven. hopefully I get this even. Then yes, so then it should be melty ooey gooiness. Okay, and then I always just take a little offset spatula, kind of push it around, not to get too crazy on it. Ooh, yeah. And I think we might share one of these for dessert. Is that okay, Scott, or do you want your own?
That's fine.
They're kind of big. We'll see how they turn out. Alright, let's see. I'm going to get this one out because it looks like it might be a little overdone in the corner. So hopefully it will come out without too much issue. Oh yeah. And then look at the ooey gooiness underneath. Ooh, look at that.
I think that's gooey gooiness in the pan there too. It's not burnt.
Oh. Alright. Trying not to get every dish dirty, so I figured I can cut this in half. This way. Alright. Well, there we have it. Should I taste it? Should I taste it? Or do you want to taste it?
Go for it.
Okay. Let's see how it is. Well, the good thing is it's all cooked. You can taste a little bit of the bourbon, but it's not overpowering. And it's sweet, but it's not nearly as sweet. So I probably could put a little bit more powder or brown sugar in it, but I think it's really good. So, yummy. I'll try to have the recipe in the comments, even though I don't always follow a recipe. I'll write it down as best I can. Let me know if you have any questions.